Good morning, everybody. Take it away.
Good morning, America. Good morning, world. Good morning, panel. And good morning to our guest today. Good morning to Joy Marie. Of course, good morning to Chandler. And good morning, Amos. How are you guys?
Morning.
Okay. Oh. I would like to start with our guest. How are you doing in Pennsylvania?
I am hanging in there. I'm getting bored, but it's COVID as usual. I'm used to traveling a lot, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, okay. As you can hear, we got a little bit of audio problems. We hope we can fix it. I hope it's not getting too dramatic. And thank you for being here, Joy. And the same question goes to Chanda. How are you doing today? You had a busy week. You had a lot of shows. And how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. And yeah, I did do a lot of shows this week. I'm pumping out 2-3 shows a day. But as we get closer to the election, I think that's to be expected. We did a great moderated a debate between Convo Couch's Pasta Jardadula and Josue Gloria to vote for Biden or not vote for Biden. And as you can see, it got a little heated, and but we still, at least we're having those conversations on the left, and we have those conversations here a lot of times, and that's why I appreciate this show so much, because we don't live in an echo chamber. We're trying to understand everybody's position on this. So I'm excited to have Joy here. Welcome, Joy, my sister at Uphill. So let's have a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amos, how are you doing? Amos, can you hear us?
Amos, can you hear us?
Yes, Amos. Maybe we should sing a song. Amos, can you hear us? Yeah. Maybe he has a lot of delay, from Washington State to Jersey. But this cannot be that long. I don't know what's going on with Amos. So I suggest that we should go on and start the show. We got a lot of topics today. And I think this week was one of those weeks where the days fly by, right? And you know what I mean. Anyway, Amos, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So the same question to you. How are you doing?
We're holding on. Things are a shit show outside, so I'm just trying to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Well, we are starting the show with our first segment. We are going back in the past, as usual, at the beginning of our shows, and we are looking back at the year 1973. And there we can find the following situation. We have Nixon as president, and we have his VP, we have Spiro Agnew. And I find it quite interesting to look at what happened there, because he, as I said, he has to resign. And I checked why he had to resign. And if you compare this to today, then it is, it seems to be quite ridiculous, right? And if you show the first slide of the article, please. It was about, as you can see here, it was about political corruption and income tax evasion, and he was subsequently fined with $10,000 and also sentenced to 3 years probation. And of course, he had to resign, right? Could you imagine that one of Trump's cronies would go away, would resign, and go away? I think today everything completely changed, And Agnew was also in the Nixon administration known to be an absolute warmonger. He was absolutely pro-Vietnam War, and he was discrediting liberals to be disloyal and un-American. Well, and yes, and it came out he was corrupt. What a surprise, right? And as you can see, after his resignation, I did not hear a lot of him. I don't know. Maybe you guys from the panel can tell me more. What did he do in the past? Did he disappear from the surface in shame, or did he get a job in a high-profile company? Because mostly those people land on their feet again. And right. Anyway, he's dead already. He died in 1996, and well, I think, as I said, it was astounding to see what consequences it could have a couple of years ago, to be corrupt and to evade taxes, and compared to now, where a president can withhold his tax papers, or it seems that that legal measurements seem not to touch him. Well, it is quite strange. And what do you guys from the panel think? I would like to start with Chandler.
Well, I was born the week that Nixon resigned, so I don't have any personal experience other than I grew up knowing that everybody hated Spiro Agnew. I didn't even know who he was until I got older and started studying, politics, poli-sci. But I think that it's crazy that nowadays these scandals don't knock these politicians out. I mean, look at the sex scandal aspect. Before, if you even had a breath of a sex scandal, you were done in politics. And now Joe Biden has 8 accusations. Trump has 15. I think Trump has paid more to pay off sex workers than he has in taxes, probably combined in the last 10 years. It's mind blowing. Right now in Washington State, we have a gubernatorial candidate who is being accused of very heinous acts, and he's still running. It's mind-blowing to me that this is the normal now. We just accept that, oh well, they've got flaws, so does everybody.
Yeah, and look at the nuclear explosion. If you only look back at Bill Clinton, and his blowjob in a time in office, and well, John Marie, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it kind of reminds me of Biden when he dropped just for plagiarizing. Yeah, are you kidding me? He lies every day, and he's the nominee. So it's really incredible how complacent people have gotten. And also, I think defeatist. Well, if we don't put up him, we're going to get someone else who lies anyway, so we may as well just keep him.
Yeah. Right. We couldn't understand everything, but in the end, it got better again. It seems to come in waves, your audio problem, but as I said, we're going to fix it. And now I'm curious, where has Amos been in 1973?
Me too.
Where? I have no idea. But what I do know, I've listened to, there was a podcast that Rachel Maddows made, and it was very, very concise. It's 6 parts going through the whole Spiro Agnew and Nixon Watergate thing, and it was mostly about Agnew. Fascinating. He was actually a very corrupt guy. He accepted bribes and it seemed like nobody could touch him, and it was just by chance that they had the right people in the right positions that kept pressing in spite of a lot of pressure on them.
Exactly. The Department of Justice, for example, they put him finally into charge. Unimaginable today, that the Department of Justice would do anything against those people.
Right.
But nevertheless, it was a miracle that it ended the way it ended. It could have just as well gotten ended just like what's going on today, where there's allegations and accusations, and then nothing happens. And that was almost the case back then. So, our democracy is built on a very, very thin layer of spread. So
yes, yeah, absolutely right. I'm glad that you mentioned this. I used to have the image, it's a little plant, which need to be watered every day. This is democracy, and Anyway, we are going over, and I'm happy that I finally have the chance to meet in a show Joy Marie in person. I don't know if you remember, we already had contact in 2018 or 2019, and there we were talking about maybe we can do something together, and it was very loose, and and then I think things got too dramatic and too troubled that we lost it. But I'm happy that you joined us here as Apple Media, and I'm glad to have you here. And first, I would like to know, before we are going over to the Yes Queen Chronicles, how do you like it being here at Apple Media, in the Apple Media family?
I love it. It's been amazing. I got to meet new people I've never interacted with before I joined. And I feel like it's like I can be myself. You know, I can do shows that I want to do. I can have guests that I want to have. You know, it's great. I've had, you know, Oz has helped me a lot. Shanda's helped me a lot. Just like tech wise, especially. So I feel like it's been very welcoming, and I'm incredibly glad that I came over and joined you guys.
That's great to hear. Yeah, we love it also that you are here, and we already know you from the Real Progress in action, and that we know what your voice is, where your heart beats, and I think you are a great addition to our team here. You know, and
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, last year we had Pat here. Unfortunately, you could not make it last week. And did I say last year? Last week we had Pat here.
Last year. It seems like a year.
2020 is long.
Yes, every week feels like a year. Yeah. No, last week Pat was here, and we talked about the Yes Queen Chronicles already, which I'm hopefully get soon. You know, I will order it. I hope I can get it soon. I know the American Postal Service is shit. Anyway, how did the idea come? What was it? Basically, your idea, and you connected with Pat. Who influenced who in this part?
It was my idea. I was so disgusted and overwhelmed with the treatment of Tara Reade, and just all the hypocrisy of, you know, rape doesn't matter if it's from Democrats, you know, things like that. And it was just so overwhelming to see the behavior of women, especially. Well, Biden has a lot of rapes to catch up to Trump, things like that. I was just so disgusted. And it just inspired me to want to point out all of the hypocrisy. But that's also when Bernard decided to drop. So I was like, hardcore depression. This sucks. I don't know what to do. I have no hope. So I was like, let me try and make it humorous, because maybe it could be cathartic for some people to try and deal with it in that manner. So of course I hit up Pat. Now Pat and I have never met, still to this day. Wow. But I knew him for Peter Douche and stuff like that. So I hit him up and I said, hey, I kind of have an idea for a book. Is that something you'd be open to? And he's, you know, I was kind of like, I didn't expect him to really, you know, we don't know each other, you know, well, now we do, but I wasn't expecting him to be like, yeah, but he's like, okay, what's your phone number? We'll start Saturday. And it was just very like, whoa. And I was like, oh, and by the way, I'm visually impaired, and like, I have like no eyesight. And so that could be something that you're going to want to prepare for. So it was interesting, you know, co-writing a book, having recently lost so much of my eyesight, we had to, you know, figure out things to do that a lot of obstacles people cannot fathom. You know, I wrote my part by audibly saying things, and then Pat read everything back to me. So it was a process, and I don't know that I could have done it with anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, of course, it is a fascinating story. And I can imagine how funny it might have been, you know, to develop all the stuff, you know, to be in comedy together and to find a connection there. And great, absolutely great. And what about the illustrations for the book? How did you come to? Let me see. I'm not familiar with the illustrator, Danny Hellman. We don't have a photo, unfortunately, of him. how did he come into the game? Because he seems to be very known already and publishing stuff for a long time already.
He has. I reached out to a friend of mine who's an incredibly talented artist, Jenna Colby, and she recommended him. And she said, "Oh my God, this is his wheelhouse. You have to hit him up." And I hit him up, and immediately he's like, "What if we do this?" And I was just like, the concept I came to him with was like so pathetic that like I'm ashamed of it now, because he just nailed it. Oh my God. And he hadn't read the book. We were still working on it. So we just gave him the chapter titles. That's all he had. So,
and he figured out for himself his part. Oh, okay, cool.
And it was just perfect. It was absolute perfection. Well, he knows the type that we're mocking throughout the book. So yeah, he absolutely nailed it. And coincidentally, there is a RBG with a halo that was kind of a
I see, I know this from the cover. I know. I remember. It's above me. Yeah. Yeah, great. And what can we expect now? Is it a new chapter which you want to follow now from this on, that you're going into writing, or what are your plans? What are your future plans with this concerns?
Well, I actually was an English major. So I've always written things. I've been published numerous times, but I've never actually published an entire book. So that was very new. And ironically, it's when I lost much of my sight, which is just weird that it worked out that way. But Pat and I have come up with a concept of another book. And people like Mike Figueredo from Humanist Reporter, like, I want more. So I'm like, I'm getting there. So it's pretty exciting. This book is still so new, though, that we're, trying to kind of pimp this. Our show with Nina Turner's coming up. She had us on her podcast to discuss it, which was like
I'm
that's
looking
all we
forward
need.
to this.
We're good. So yeah, we're definitely talking about things, to write for the next one. But
yes,
we're very proud of this one, and continue to be excited to pimp it out.
Okay, that sounds very cool. Okay, and now what do you have in mind, your future at Apple Media? What are your wishes, dreams for your shows? Who would you like to have in your shows? Who would you like to interview?
Well, I mean, I have a list of, like a mental list who I've wanted to have. I've been doing shows for over 3 years, so I've always had those, those ones. One of my top 5 for 3 years was Larry Sanders, Bernie's brother, and I had him on a Wednesday, and it was so beautiful and so amazing, and it was one of my favorite shows, hands down. It was just delightful, and he is a beautiful soul. So that was very humbling. But I think I would love to have Susan Sarandon, because she's just such a goddess. I just love her, and she follows me, so that's good at least. But I'm having Dr. Dooley back. I loved doing a show with her. She's fantastic. I'm having the VP Green candidate back, Angela Walker. She's coming back next week.
Oh, cool.
I'm having Ben Dixon on later this month. He's really great. So I have some, and Ron Placone I'm having back Monday. We do shows together all the time, but it's so much fun. So, I'm just very fortunate. I have no shame. So I'll just ask anyone that I want to ask. I'll be like, hey, I have no idea if you know who I am, but I have a show and I'd really love to have you.
Yes. And
it so probably works.
Yes, and we are happy that you're here. And yeah, it looks like a good list you have. And yeah, good luck. And of course, a lot of fun in those times where fun is hard to feel for many, I guess. Well, thank you so much for so far. And I see that Oz is in the background, and he wants to tell us what.
Yeah, I have. First of all, can you guys hear? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question for Joy. Joy, we talked before she came on Uphill Media, and one of the things that I told Joy, and she probably thought I was nuts, but what we are trying to do at Uphill Media is to promote women's voices, people of different identities and ethnicities at Uphill Media. That this is my personal thing, and we all share that thing. And I said, Joy, you really need to build your own channel and start your own channel, and we will support that too. Joy, did you think I was crazy, or what did you think about that when I told you that? I suggested that to you.
I kind of did, because I'm not used to that at all. I'm used to being like an org, not being able to, do my own thing. So I was like, I had a lot of trepidation because I'm like, how the hell am I going to get, subscribers and stuff, because they all come here, so I did start one. It's Savage Joy Marie Man. I have like 150 followers. It's really, I just started it not that long ago, but the thing about it is I have over 300 prior episodes on it. So that's the thing. I upload new episodes, current ones, and I also have over 3 years of prior shows where people can check out, candidates or public figures or things that I've had in the past.
Well, I have to say that I encourage everybody to start their own channels, and when you can, share content with Uphill Media, because we love the fact that you came on board, and we appreciate all your content. And that interview was fucking fantastic with Larry Sanders. It was just great. And
thank you.
That was from Jordan Allen, by the way.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for letting me ask that question, Marcus.
No, you're welcome, Oz. You know this. Well, a final question to John Marie: Trump or Biden?
Bernie.
Good answer.
I'm writing Bernie in again. I did in 2016. I'm doing it again. I just can't. I gave my life to this campaign. I left Pennsylvania. I moved to Iowa for 5 weeks to volunteer, and knock doors in 4 degrees and things like that. Like, I'm voting for my candidate, period. Like, that's it.
Okay, absolutely fine. I got an additional question as you mentioned it. How did you feel? What was your reaction when Bernie dropped out of the race? For you as a hardcore burner, and and we all have been absolutely pro Bernie. There's no discussion about this. How did you feel?
Well, I mean, I found out 4 days prior to when it was announced, and it was hard because I was in charge of phone banking. So I was like, yeah, I can't really make calls anymore, because I was just like, I can't make calls trying to sell this man who's going to be dropping out. So I still, to this day, have not watched his speech where he says he's ending his campaign. I can't, and I won't. I know why he did it. It was because of COVID, and he just couldn't handle people going out and voting and risking their health, which he is doing now, mind you. But it was for the sake of people's health. But at the same time, I'm like, why do you have to be the good person? Like, why can't Joe have listened to you and postponed the other and done in mail voting, things like that. Like you were requesting him. He didn't, and Bernie, having an actual conscience, pretty much felt obligated to drop out. And
Okay, John Marie, at this point, we cannot hear anything. Maybe it needs a break. I don't know.
No, it's coming through a little bit, but it just clips towards the end. I just wanted to say that you picked up some more subs on your channel there, Joy. So that's good. Good.
All right.
Yeah, we've been dropping the link.
Yeah. Okay. So, thank you very much, John Marie. I hope this is not the last time that you would be here with us. And you're always welcome here, of course. And we are going now over to Amos. And Amos has, of course, not a very good topic for us. But yeah, take it, Amos.
So there's been some event in the Kamchatka area, which is like northeastern Russia. So basically, tons of sea creatures is washed off dead on the shore, and people who were there, it's a tourist destination. People who were there complained about eye irritation and breathing issues and so forth. And apparently there's been some sort of pollution, and the Russians are not too keen on uncovering what it was. There's a suspicion that it may have been rocket fuel or some chemicals related to rocket production, because there's a rocket manufacturing facility on the shore not too far away. But the amount of devastation that was caused is just unbelievable. And you can see there's a little clip of it as well. Greenpeace sounded the alarm, and a lot of people are concerned. But of course, if the Russian government is not allowing it to be revealed or filmed or properly or whatever, then it just gets unnoticed.
Сначала появилась сильная резь, жжение, краснота. После выхода из воды несколько дней пелена перед глазами и сильная отечность. Впоследствии сильно упало зрение, то есть стало сложно различать предметы даже на близком расстоянии. Вот, с этой проблемой я обратилась к окулисту, и офтальмолог дал заключение о том, что это химический ожог роговицы.
Yeah, and I know our audience here, you guys are much more informed than most, but I'm really curious how many of you have, just show of hands in the chat, how many of you have heard about this? Because it's just unconscionable. All these things are happening now. We're getting hurricanes and stuff, and things that would have caught like main news story spot in like a few years ago are now just slipping by as a side story, and we're getting used to it.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about it.
Sorry, I'm trying to go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I hadn't heard it, and I'm digging through articles all day, every day. That's what I do, and so yeah, it slipped my radar.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that the Russian government can just stall this is just it's a shame.
Yeah. It feels like everyone from the rich people are grabbing what they can, because and try to flee and leave us here in the disaster. This is exactly what we saw with the first trillions the Trump administration gave to the big companies and all this stuff. They are filling their pockets before it's too late, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
We're so screwed. Oh my God. I watched last night, and Amber King and Brave New Future brought a report how the Bering Sea is dying. And it almost brings we're so screwed, guys.
Yeah, in so many ways. And yeah, let's not count it all. Look at Brazil, what's going on there and everywhere. And look at California, and look at Arctic, look at Siberia. It is burning, literally burning in so many places right now. Yeah. Greenland also, yeah. But Greenland will do well, as soon as America buys it, then it would be another state and everything would be cool.
Yeah, and Mr. K is right. The Greenpeace has tested samples of the water there, and they have discovered there is a high amount of petroleum, which is what led to the idea that it could be rocket fuel that leaked.
Yeah.
Well, they've been making all those souped up rockets over in Russia, so that would make sense.
Oh, I don't know if they are eating this. John Marie, what do you think? What's your take?
We keep hearing from scientists that things are getting worse. We don't have a lot of time. Things, environmentally are just horrible. And then we have, people running for president who couldn't care less. And you can't help but think about what happened before we had independent media, because before there was independent media, you're not hearing about this at all. So it's pretty incredible that now we have the access to actually learn these things, because at the same time, it's really disheartening to learn these things, but we have the ability to learn them, which is good.
Yes, from one side you're absolutely right, but it lacks the personal, to draw the correct conclusions out of it, If the world is beaten with figures like Trump, like Bolsonaro, like all the other big leaders, the big polluters, and I also include Europe to this, then the chances are very, very small, in my opinion. Anyway. Amos, do you have anything to add?
That was basically just a short update.
It was bad enough. Yeah, you're right. Well, we are addressing now, the big hit for this week. An animal which became very prominent. Found millions of fans. And it's Pants Fly, of course, and I found a nice article in Slate, and where they had the chance to do an interview with the fly, and maybe you can show this. The fly says that she enjoyed the time to be prominent for 2 solid minutes, and if you know about the life expectation of a fly, that those 2 minutes might have felt for it like 2 months or 2 years. I don't know exactly. The interesting thing is the intention why she dropped there, and why she is finally supporting Trump. And and it was about the things Pence said. Though I have to say, Pence at this night said a lot of crap. Most of what he said was absolutely bullshit, and I felt if you know Mike Pence, there is someone on the stage, who's somehow a Christian Ayatollah, if you want. So at least this is his worldview of how America should be. And well, of course, this attracts of insects of a certain kind, as it seems, Though I have to say the timing of the fly was not the best, because at this moment where the fly landed, there was the point where Mike Pence was absolutely right, where he nailed it in this discussion. At this moment, he was referencing to Kamala Harris's past as general attorney in California and her incarceration rates, and unfortunately, the people at the TVs and also we, when we watched it live, were so distracted by this fly that we did not that it lost power what Pence at this moment said, and he absolutely hit hard, by remembering Kamala Harris of her own past, and I think this was a good moment, a little bit destroyed by the fly, but in the end, the fly decided, to think about its future, and of course, of the future about her great children. She repeats this. I counted it 46 times. It might be mean something. It is about their great kids, and and they want Trump out of office, and the fly reminded of the endorsement of the great 46 times mother. And it was asking, there was already the first endorsement, and the only question is who wore it best? And yes, the panel, who wore it best? Jana?
Who wore it best?
Yeah.
God, I gotta say Hills. HRC wore it best.
Okay, Amos, what are you rooting for?
I don't know who wore it best. I think I would give it a tie, but what I do know is that the flies never make a mistake where to land, and I think that was compared to Bernie's bird moment.
Yeah, we're coming
it shows you something.
We are coming a little later to this, yes. And Joy Marie, what do you think? Who wore it best?
Yeah, I like, as I don't know if you guys can see this, but maybe I have the Bernie Birdie.
The Bernie Birdie.
Yeah, which inspired me. These not so much. I refuse to say Hillary wins anything, so I'm just gonna say a tie.
All right. Okay. So this leads us to let's talk serious about this, about the debate. We all watched it. The fly was in there. Let's forget for a moment about the fly. What did we learn? What was your take from this? In how far did Kamala Harris impress, Mike Pence impress, and how far didn't they at all? What do you take for this? And do you think that undecided voters, as far as they exist at this point, which I doubt a little bit, what might they think, and who do you think would they root for now? I would like to start with Amos.
Well, I've discussed it with you guys. What I thought it was basically, I think they're pivoting to the right, which is a big, grave mistake. Of course, they've done that already in the past election. They are not learning the lesson. They think that they can keep the left because of the grave danger of Trump, and meanwhile try to be as centrist or as conservative as possible. I don't think they'll gain as many people from the right as they'll lose people from the left. So I'm fearful that this is a stupid tactic that is promoted by Democrat consultants and advisors. And I thought they learned not to trust these guys anymore, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. And this brought me to the card for today's show. If you saw Joe Biden at his latest events, one town hall, one other event where he was bragging, being not a socialist, no, in contrary, having beaten the socialist. He even doesn't mention Bernie's name anymore. He's complete impersonalized, if you want so. And it is astounding that Bernie still references to Joe Biden as his good friend Joe and stuff, and while you are getting beaten time and time and time again, and in a very despicable kind, in my opinion, right? John Marie, what's your take?
Well, from speaking with family members and also being, close to the campaign and going to different states and stuff, I know for a fact that the reason why Bernie is so, still going out there, things like that, is because he knows damn right well, if and when Biden loses, it is his fault. Even though it's not, it is. He will be blamed. It will solely be his fault. And that was very hard for him to accept. He did like 50 rallies for Hillary, but it's still his fault. She lost. So even if that's not true, that does weigh heavily on your mind. He's in a situation no one else has been or ever will be in. So I understand, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm excited for it. I think that he's going above and beyond, and Joe not only is not trying to get our votes, he is actually insulting us as well. So that's on him. They already have the vote, no matter who, the right people, the people who don't like Trump, but they're still trying to appeal to them. That's on them. I mean, that is 100% on them.
Exactly. Yeah. Chanda, what do you say?
I have to agree with Amos, and I think that your observation is spot on, that they are reaching for the right again. And how many times did they tell us that they're not banning fracking? They're not talking to the small handful of workers that work in the fracking industry. They're talking to the corporate overloads, or when they say that, like, hey, we're gonna do this too. The one thing that I learned, which was shocking in this debate, was when Pence said that Biden didn't want to go after Osama bin Laden and kill him when they were talking foreign policy. And it was shocking to me that I had to hear that from the right. That should be something that the left is toting in order to get the non-war vote, but they don't give a shit about the non-war vote because they are the military industrial complex, and they do want to stay in all of these regime change wars and the strife that we create around the country, which, gosh, we're hearing so much. I mean, the last week, if you're watching The Gray Zone and Aaron Mate and his interviews in front of the UN about Syria and, Yemen, and just how much we're involved, that was all Hillary Clinton's State Department, which is hand in hand with Joe Biden. So, people tell me all the time, domestic, we got to worry about domestic. That's why we're going to vote for Biden, immigration and nationalism. But you have to look at the world globally, because we live globally, and what we're doing to so many other countries, not just here, in South America and all of the regime change there, but what we're doing in the Middle East. And it was shocking to me that it was the right that was saying those things about the left instead of the left saying them.
Yeah, look, but look how your politicians do to their own people. Why should you expect they're doing better abroad? If you want to take a cynical view on this, right?
But let's also remember I've noticed that the Republicans are much more, or Trump and Pence are much more strategical in how they're attacking Biden and Harris. They want to create this rift, so they're baiting them as to things that might be more important to progressives than they are to Republicans. Again, like, who's going to vote strictly on basis of fracking or not fracking if you're a conservative? Their issues are different. But why they're raising those issues? Because they can create a rift between the progressives and the left and Biden and his campaign. So again, they're stupid that they're letting Trump get to them in that way. instead of defending their position based on sound science and sound principles, the Green New Deal and all of that, even if Biden's not like endorsing it, there's elements of it that he has incorporated, and Harris was in favor of it. So all of a sudden, to pretend that they have nothing to do with that, it's just going to hurt them.
Right, and her proclaiming that she was out protesting, we all know that was a blatant lie. I mean, where was the fact check on that?
This brings me to Kamala Harris' performance. How did you see Kamala Harris this evening, Chandna?
Well, okay, so I was very critical that I thought she could have been more forceful. You know, so many times he interrupted her. She should have just fired right back at him. But then, you know, as I had friends, especially here at Uphill, that pointed out that if she did that, she would have been attacked for being the angry Black woman who can't keep her emotions in check.
She is already.
So she's walking a really fine line, but I wish that she would have swung harder. I think Biden is such a weenie that she has to be the strong one and carry them. And if she doesn't, we get Trump for 4 more.
Yes. John Marie.
I gotta say, my critique is quite insipid, but I cannot stand her voice. I cannot stand her laugh. I couldn't even keep it on. Honestly, she just gives me chills, and it's not like the Hillary cackle, but it's just very like, it's so fake.
Yes. Thank you. This is exactly what I took there. You know, a day later, you know, there came the first critiques, you know, about those who criticize Kamala Harris for their behavior, you know, and exactly. And it came also from the right side, you know, where every move she did was criticized and ridiculed, you know. But on the other hand, you know, if you compare this debate, you know, imagine, instead of Kamala Harris, there would be Nina Turner on the stage. No. The big difference is that Nina Turner is to the core authentic. And this is exactly the problem of Kamala Harris. She was so trying not to be too hard, not to be too soft, to appeal to the audience on TV. It came over, it was completely not natural behavior. It was, as you said, absolutely fake, in my opinion.
She's been groomed by Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton's donors for 3 years now. She was the chosen one. That's why she dropped out so early, because they knew they were going to put her in the VP spot.
Of course. They knew exactly what kind of candidate they would need to get the voters attracted. This would be the Black woman with migrant roots, etc. They knew exactly who they would pick. You know?
Yep. Had Nina with pressure.
Amos, please.
There's really 3 elements to this when you're looking at the debate, and there's the element of the mannerism and just style. There's the element of the conduct, and then there's the element of the content. On the element of the style, I really couldn't care less if she cackles or she's like this nasal or whatever. It doesn't really affect me much beyond that impression. But on the format, I think she dwarfed Pence. I don't think that if she were more forceful, it would have helped her. I think she was forceful at the right amount, and he seemed like a little kid being reprimanded by a mom in some of those points. But in terms of the content, the content disappointed all of us on the left, and that's really the most important aspect.
Yeah,
I think Oz wants in on this.
Yeah, just quickly, I want to point out one thing, and although I agree with you on content, and you know, if you don't think the cackling of the body language registered with you, nowadays that everybody is engaged in virtual forums, Jimmy was pointing out the other day, and several other social media people, and I include Joy in this. People are tired of the bullshit, and when you come across honest and genuine, you are going to win hearts and minds. And this is something that's attributed to all the up and coming social media people, the ones that have been in there. And I think that's important because we are being in a virtual thing, watching town halls on the net now. That's where we're at. And when we see these dog and phony shows, these substanceless debates, people aren't buying it. So you're not winning over the vote or support by being disingenuous. And that's what I see. And I agree with you, Amos. Her thing the other night was showing what a petulant child that Pence was. You know, and I wish Biden would have done that more with Trump in their debate. But I just wanted to get that out. You know, this is why some of the older social media people are crashing with their sites. They're holding their subs, but they're going down in viewership, and they're getting ratio the hell out of because people are on to the bullshit. You know, and I'll say, Sam Cedar, he's one of them. That's losing people. You know, and that's because he's disingenuous. Anyway, thanks for letting me chime.
No problem. Well, great discussion. Yeah, I liked it. Well, we will end this right now, and we're going over to politicians in general. You know, of course, yeah, of course. Thank you, Dan, for donating $13, and thank you for a nice crew on board.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, we are going now to politicians and their relationships with animals, and we see some good and some failures. Please start the first slide. I think it's the most prominent example. Everybody remembers this. Everybody loves this. We are seeing here Bernie, you know, and well, I love especially how Bernie looked at this moment. And I thought to myself, damn it, I know this look. And I wasn't wrong. I found it. Next one, please. Right?
Cute.
Isn't
100% exactly on that, Marcus.
Right? Anyway.
Guys, I watched that on Uphill Media. I'll never forget it.
Yes. Yeah. It was. Did we do it live? I don't.
It was
remember.
Bernie TV 2016, and it was the only place you could get the smaller rallies, like because that was Portland. And so I would tune in every night to see where Bernie was in 2016 with John Ellis and
everybody lost Bernie their shit at that one.
Yes.
It was going crazy.
We were absolutely getting crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Show us the next one, please, Oz. Yeah. Or we also remember this one. Yeah. You know, Trump pisses off the eagle in the office. You know, and maybe the eagle was hunting for a little fly in Trump's head. I don't know. Well, we can show the next one. I don't know if you know this guy who is dropping up a horse. It's it turned out that he is no horse whisperer. It is Minister President Erdogan of Turkey. And if you offend him, he is very, very revengeful. So we can show the next slide. Otherwise, I get it.
Is that a fly on his head?
Yeah, a lot of
that was a fly on his head.
There's a fly embedded in every picture.
Yeah. I thought it was Pete Buttigieg.
Not in everyone. I put a lot of flies in there. Yeah,
that's a fly.
And this one, I don't know if you know it, but Angela Merkel is afraid of dogs. Putin knew this at this point, at this meeting, you know, and he had nothing better to do than to introduce his dog to Angela Merkel, you know. Well,
wow.
Next one
reminds me of the bathroom Hitler arrangement with.
All right, yeah. And yeah, talking about Hitler, there we got him, you know, and his dog Blondie was with him before she got famous with Heart of Glass at that time, and it was taken at Obersalzberg in Bavaria, Germany. You don't know Heart of Glass anymore, right? Okay, yeah, this is wrong. This is not the right one. Do the next one. It's Animals, George. Animals. Yeah, that's better. Oh, yeah.
I knew he was into bestiality.
I'm sorry?
I knew he was into bestiality.
Yes. Okay, next one. If you got another one, I don't know. Maybe it was the last one. No, it's the last one.
Oh, you should have had Tom Perez getting shit on.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, I forgot.
That
Tom.
was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
And it was
Oh.
Earth Day.
Earth Day. Okay. Yeah, it
Great
fits.
to know.
It fits. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe next year. Okay, we are coming to the news from the Trumpiverse. I don't have any other word for it, to describe what's going on right now. And well, yeah, just run it. I don't want to add something. Just run it, Oz.
I beat him in the first debate. At the second debate, we have a never Trumper as a host, but that's okay because I beat him in the second debate also. And but I'm not going to do a virtual debate.
So Mr. President, you're not going to do it because the CPD, the Commission on Presidential Debates, announcing this morning that the second presidential debate will be virtual. Are you saying you're not going to participate?
No, I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous. And then they cut you off whenever they want. I have a host who I always thought was a nice guy, but I see he's a never Trumper. Came out that he's a never Trumper. We do have some of them, Maria, believe it or not, because they don't like to win. But I'm not doing a virtual debate. They didn't even tell us about the debate, Maria.
So you just learned this morning?
Yeah, we learned it the same way you learned it. They called up 2 minutes ago, and it was announced. And they're trying to protect Biden. Everybody is. They're trying, like that NBC disaster where he went on this show with Lester Holt. It was meant for a child. It wasn't meant for a grown person. He gets up and he says, "We're not fracking. We're not fracking." He was fracking for 6 months. He was fracking. He was raising his very thin hand, and he was fracking. And now all of a sudden he's not fracking. Well, tell the Pennsylvania people that you're going. It's ridiculous. He said he's not fracking. That's all he said. And then all of a sudden he goes to a fracking mode. And how about her? She committed her life to it. And all of a sudden, she's a fracker. She's a big fracker. They're going to stop fracking the minute they get into office. They're lying to everybody. They're lying about so many different
Let's
things.
hope.
But you have to
I'm in
confront it.
Pennsylvania.
I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about what you heard last night. But Mr. President, you say you're not going to do this debate. Address the criticism, Mr. President, the criticism that you removed your mask for a photo op. You got to the top of the steps. You removed it. People are worried about your recent diagnosis. Now you've got 30-plus people with coronavirus in and around the White House. Address that concern for us, Mr. President, as you tell the Commission on Debates you're not going to do this virtually.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think I'm better when to a point where I'd love to do a rally tonight. I wanted to do one last night. But I think I'm better to a point that I feel better than I did, I jokingly said 20 years ago. I feel perfect. There's nothing wrong. I had a case. I got it knocked out. I think it was Regeneron that was responsible for it. Because of that, it was sort of like almost a gift from heaven because of what I went through, and I had I felt pretty lousy. A lot of people did, and a lot of people do. No matter how good the security, you're not going to protect yourself from this thing with just your standard anything, unless you just literally don't come out. And even those people found out. Did you see in New York City, the most heavily locked down place, the people that caught it the most were the people that were caught in their houses and their apartments, okay?
I have to say real quick, what's this guy talking about Joe Biden raising his very thin hand when he has this hands the size that would go on a Barbie doll? Give me a break.
Well, it was in so many ways. It was. It reminded me of the Simpsons when they had this where Grandpa Simpson was yelling at a cloud, and he was it was incoherent bullshit. Feeling better like before that Corona is a blessing to him. What the fuck? What?
He's on steroids, and anybody who's ever taken steroids for any length of time, he is out of his freaking mind right now.
Yeah.
Look at the Trump hands.
I mean, he was. It is not a new state he's in. He's getting even more crazy as it seems. A blessing from God. My God. And then. Yeah, and then we can show the next one. Then you have the counter.
Oh,
there is a plan, and the plan isn't for the president to say that he's a perfect specimen, did he say? Specimen, maybe I could agree with that. And young, he said he was young. His disassociation from reality would be funny if it weren't so deadly. And his people, these enablers around who are enabling death, the death toll to rise. We have to shed a bright light on what has been possible for months that they chose to ignore because of their contempt for Congress and their disdain for governance. And so that's why, if there's one thing that has to be in this bill that he has never made as a priority, it's crushing the virus. I think that the public needs to know the health condition of the president. Let us see a date, a time when you last tested negative before you admitted to this virus. Tomorrow, by the way, come here tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment.
I mean, this is so poor. This is so poor in many ways. We are coming tomorrow together and talking about the 25th. Where in this speech did she offer actual help? Where was the demand for single-payer health care? And this pisses me really off. You know, this is a Shakespearean play in stupid. You know, and every act in it, every fucking scene, there's so much stupidity in it and so much. I don't know how I can describe it. It is. It's fucking crazy that this woman stands there and comes up with another play, with another stage play, and offering nothing. What do you guys say?
Here's the crazy thing. The election's in 3 weeks, and you're talking about how you're going to win. You're going to beat Trump bad. But now you're talking about 25th Amendment. Which is it? Why would you do that if you're going to crush him so hard in 3 weeks? It makes no kind of sense.
No, and you know, it is staged because it would not get through.
And it would be another impeachment thing.
It is just bullshit. In big letters, bullshit.
I think it's very telling of what they're talking about in closed rooms, and you know what she's snickering with her elite friends with at night, like, oh, he's so out of his mind, we need a shrink. And you know, if you follow up with what she was talking about, they want a committee now that will physically and mentally vet the president. Like they would recommend doctors and shrinks and former presidents and former cabinet members to like judge who gets to be president, is really what she was trying to imply with this.
And I mean, Biden's got how long? Yeah. I mean, if Biden wins, Kamala will probably be president within a year.
Yeah.
I even asked screenshots of when Biden said in interviews, whoever I pick as vice president is going to have to be ready to step up immediately. He said that twice. Why?
Because they know they're going to replace him as soon as they get into office, if they get into office.
Of course. Well, and then
sorry. Yeah, I wanted to go back to what Trump has says. Two things. First of all, his when he's talking about the virtual conference, of course, it makes no sense. Why cancel a virtual debate, which to anybody but him would not be any different, except for, and that's where if you noticed, he mentioned one critical things for him is they can cut your mic off.
That's it.
Yeah, you're right. He just didn't do it because they shut him up.
He doesn't want to be in that position where they can cut him off because he wants to dominate the debate and not let anyone speak.
Right. Be the
other thing was the whole fracking issue. I just wanted to point out some interesting aspect about it, because the way it happened in Pennsylvania, and I was there to see it, was it started with corporations and lobbies bribing the political class through campaign donations and causing them to raise rural taxes. And once those rural taxes were so high that people were actually starting to lose their properties, they could not keep up with those. There was a big leap in the property tax. At that point, they offered the solution: bring in fracking, lease the land, and you'll get your money back. So it was sort of an extortion, and Democrats were just as guilty with that as Republicans were, where it comes to Pennsylvania fracking. Trump claims that it provided 900,000 jobs. No, it has not. At the very best, it provided like 28,000 jobs. Some of them are from out of state, from Texas, people coming from Texas and so forth. And those people who are leasing their land, they're basically being taken advantage of. They may think that it's in their advantage, but they don't see the whole picture. They don't see how they were bamboozled into it.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right with also what you said before. But there's another reason why Trump canceled the debate. The first thing, you're absolutely right. He doesn't want to give the script out of his own hands. The other thing is, these are ordinary people who are asking him questions. He cannot react like a schoolyard bully to them. You know, he would need to show more empathy. And he's not willing. Either he cannot or he's not willing. Yes, this is what. Yeah, exactly. And this is why he dropped this. Those components, I think, made his decision to drop it. You know.
Yep.
So now Joe Biden will be debating the other Joe Biden.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Biden versus Joe Biden. It sounds a little bit like from the '91 Undertaker versus Undertaker in WWE. But anyway, this went too far.
I remember that.
It was terrible.
Joy, you've got one hell of a psycho killer on your shoulder.
What?
Yes, yes.
Hell?
No.
I'm screenshotting that.
That song plays in my head every time I see him.
I think Amos State is very worrying right now because it seems that he's growing out of Stephen Miller's brain. So we want to get. Yes.
You're the fly sitting on Stephen Miller.
Okay. Yes, Stephen Miller. This brings us exactly to the point, you know. Even Stephen. I mean, guys, really, if I would have supposed that someone would not get the virus from the White House, then it was Stephen Teflon Miller, because you know. We know him. He is the real guy behind Trump. He is the dump whisperer, if you want so, maybe, and he is the real radical, you know. And I think even the virus would say, okay, no, please not.
I think the Democrats have him confused with Putin. I'm sorry, Marcus. See the resemblance to Putin with that guy?
That's a good point. I never noticed that.
He does have the Putin pout.
He reminds me more of Gargamel from the Smurfs, you know, the bad wizard.
Gargamel.
He reminds much more of Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels.
Yeah, he reminds me of Goebbels too.
Okay, but but in the movie, right? The Untergang, right?
No. Actually, if you look at Goebbels' pictures, there's something similar in his skull structure and the way his knows his position and everything.
The dead eyes too.
Yeah,
I don't see the
agree
dead eyes.
Amos.
Yeah, they're familiar. Yeah,
Amos, you're right. I agree.
Goebbels'
with you.
eyes. Yeah.
He
It's not a
does.
compliment if you say to a person you got Goebbels' eyes. But in this
Strikingly.
case, anyway. Well, he got it, and of course, the upper media panel wishes a speedy recovery, and so on. And and we're already at the next topic. This topic, it's crazy. Really can't make this up, this shit. You know, it's happening in Wisconsin, and the GOP in Wisconsin is worried about those mascots, you know, the so-called racing sausages, and that they would entertain the people at polling places. Because it's no fucking joke. It's no joke, yeah. The GOP is worried that those mascots attract people to go to vote, and they fear that the majority of those voters who would be attracted by those mascots would give their vote to the Democrats.
Democrats love their dicks, that's for sure.
Yeah, as a woman, I'm surrounded by Sausage Fest every day. It doesn't affect the way I vote either way.
Yeah, but
Sausage party.
It seems to buck the Republican Party, and especially a guy which name is Andrew Hitt. And you can say whatever you want. In the end, it shows up that Andrew Hitt is honest. He's an honest guy. He's an honest guy in politics, because if you go on in the article there, he explains what's all about. That those people might felt animated by those mascots, and it is not okay for them. And then in the next slide, they can see the other one. Sorry, in the last one, you see a quote from him, what he said. But you can give anything of value to people to come in to vote. You can put this line in a stone, because this is absolutely right. This guy is honest. You cannot expect anything from your vote, not with the choice you have. So in the end, he's right, and in the end, you don't need any racing sausages or mascots or bullshit. And right, congrats, Andrew Hitt, you nailed it. Unwillingly. Any comments?
He himself is an adult. No, I didn't know about this story. I hadn't heard it, so.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why they think that it's going to bring in more Democratic voters.
Right.
That's their view, or their fear that those mascots might influence people to vote Democratic, though they're impartial. They don't tell people go and vote for Republicans or Democrats. They are just calling to vote, and maybe that's what is not like in the Wisconsin Republican Party. I don't know how the constellation is there, that they might fear many voters. I don't know.
I think it's because it's a swing state and they don't want to bring more people, period. They feel it's more advantageous that less people show up.
Yeah, they're trying to suppress the vote. They don't want to get out the vote.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, but as Andrew Witt said, don't expect anything, because you don't get anything, right? And, well, he deserved this weekly Fly Award if we had one.
Except for not living under a totally fascist state.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Outright, anyways.
Yeah.
It's better to have it in secret.
Yeah, this was a crazy story, and now I found something good to go out for today. I was looking yesterday so long, and I did it in the last second. I added this in the last second. It is about Marianne Williamson. And about, she was in public and she nailed it. And Oz, please run it.
States of America. And because it's the United States of America, that means that anyone who is a citizen, whether they are rich or they are poor, whether they are old or whether they are young, theoretically has the rights to the same opportunities that everybody else does. Therefore, if we are a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people, unless, we're changing the contract socially, as we seem to be, into a country of a few of the people, by a few of the people, for a few of the people, and if we're going to have that change in the social contract, we better have a debate about it. And if we had that debate about it, that would mean, excuse me, Senator, or excuse me, Congressman, these children are citizens too. And when we have 23.1% children living in poverty in the United States, why is that? Because they don't have financial leverage. They're children. They don't have economic leverage. And therefore, in a world where elections have practically become auctions in our country, then those who have no economic leverage have no political leverage, which means we have an even bigger problem than the fact that children are living in poverty in the United States. We have an even bigger problem about the connection between poverty and the high incarceration rate, particularly for the Black and Latino communities. We have an even bigger problem than the fact that 46 million Americans live in poverty. We have a problem with a direct attack on democracy itself.
Yeah. Perfectly put. What do you think, Chana? You're smiling.
In the beginning, I was like, who is this Oprah guru chick? I didn't know a lot about her a few years ago. And then following her progression through the last, the primary, I think she came in very, very naive to electoral politics and just how corrupt it really is. You don't have a say. The DNC owns whatever they want. And she woke up coming out of it. And I think she's young enough to be dangerous. So I'm keeping an eye on her. I'm hoping that she's going to be one of our warriors in the future on the front line.
Yeah. Joy Marie?
I agree. I think she's amazing. I found myself missing her when she wasn't in the debates anymore. She endorsed Bernie both times, which I, of course, appreciate. It does, however, kind of hurt my soul when she says things like this and then posts how we all need to vote for Biden, on Twitter the same day. It's and she has been vote shaming. So that part hurts after watching something so spot on.
Yeah, we will have a close look. Amos, what do you think?
Anything that she said there was right on. It's sometimes she says stuff that makes me think that she's not politically astute enough, like in terms of like world politics and stuff like that. But I think her heart is in the right place, and I think she sees what we're seeing, where the shifts and the power grab away from the people to a select few, and that's very true.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's so far for the show. We are looking at the upcoming shows next week, and if you can show the slides, Ons, please. And we are starting tonight. Later tonight, we are seeing Chana and Oz in Beauty and the Boomer. And they teased yesterday that they are trying to mind control each other, or did I get something wrong?
No, Oz says that I'm already mind controlled, so I'm hoping he'll explain it to me.
Okay, and maybe if I control my mind and I'm still awake or get up, and then I would follow this in chat.
We love it when you join us. We know it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We're like, what is Almost doing here? What's Marcus doing here? So yeah, we've got a lot of great things lined up for tonight's show. We get a little crazy, we get a little tipsy, and we take on kind of the taboo conspiracy stories nobody else is talking about. We do Holly Weird, we do the fashion of the week. So it's not your typical progressive show. We just kind of cut loose and have fun. I hope you'll join us.
And we might have a check-in tonight.
Show.
Check-in tonight. Amber might be joining us in Franklin.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, and then on Wednesday, we have Amos with the second edition of the Progressive Update. And this also sounds to be very, very interesting. He's hoping to have a guest for this show, if I'm right, and it's about white supremacists, Boogaloo boys, and alt-right. And oh my. Amos, what do you can tell us about your show?
Yeah, well, this is a very timely topic, especially as we're getting into post-election potential squibbling about the votes and this disarray and chaos that may follow. So this is very timely, and I decided to launch into that.
Yeah. All right. And don't forget to tune in for the Daily Dive also. And of course, I would like to ask Joy Marie, what is your next show? What do we have on topics or guests?
Monday, I have Ron Placone, who I love doing shows with so much.
Cool.
He's always a blast. And Thursday, This Week's News with Pat. And then Friday, Green VP Angela Walker's coming back.
Yeah. Sounds like another busy week for Apple Media.
I've got one that we left off there.
Oh, sorry, the accidental activist.
Yes, I got Shama Sawant coming on with me Thursday.
Ooh.
So please tune in. I'm excited to sit down and talk to her about the recall campaign that Amazon is waging against her and how she's fighting back and how we can help.
Okay, cool. We got so many shows. Meanwhile, I counted for last week. I think we had 13 shows running only for last week. It was crazy, and well, it's great, because I see that things are developing, and it's a big fun to do this, and I hope you guys have also the fun to do with me the show, and I appreciate that you're with me.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We are not completely going out because there's Amos. He throws us out with this last hit. And it says only 3 miles left to conservative land, Captain. Full steam ahead, mate. Yeah, it's a democratic, ship, horse.
Democratanic.
Democrat. Oh, yeah, Democratic. Very
Thomas
nice.
is getting a little more radical every week. Am I the only one
Yeah,
seeing this?
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not getting more radical, and I have to say, whoever didn't see the debate this week with Jose and Pasta, just go watch it. It was very interesting. I found myself very much mirroring Jose's positions, and I think he was more articulate than I could have been about it.
I think so.
And I share his concerns and his real worry that we're not taking the seriousness of Trump's danger to whatever left we have from our democracy seriously enough to contemplate what we're going to do. So I hope this is not the case with the ship, but it seems what is happening, at least with the last debates. I don't know how they're going to rectify that situation. You can't use crazy glue in this situation, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, thanks to the panel, thanks to our viewers for watching, and we are going out with an old song. Originally, it was from the Cramps, and it came out that there is a new version of it on the market, and it came out in March, and the record is called Really Bad Music for Really Bad People, and I think that's all what we are. And we are going out with Soils featuring Mike Padden. You know, he's from Faith No More, and the title song, of course, Human Fly. Have a great weekend and see you later at Chanda and Oz, Beauty and the Boomer. Bye-bye.
Say